What is security like on a military post if you've never been? Joining me now is Sean Henry. He used to be with the FBI. And Sean, I know even when we go to do stories, I mean, we are searched up and down, our cars are, our equipment, but we're strangers there. What if you're living there like this fellow was?
Right. Well, you're talking about the largest military base in the United States, tens of thousands of people that live there. It's really the size of a small city. And trying to reduce every single vulnerability in an area like that is incredibly difficult. After the 2009 incident there with Hassan, the military looked at and reviewed security and certainly elevated. They did a lot of training and tried to raise the awareness of the potential threats there. But the reality of it is securing an entire base that size is incredibly challenging.
And it's not like you can have some, utopia gun-free zone. This is a military base. You will have weapons, and people have access to them, do they not?
Yeah, of course. You know, Robin, the most important thing, I think, is understanding that you're never going to reduce the vulnerabilities entirely. What you really need to do is actually try to identify the threat. Where's the real risk? In this particular case, what type of behavior did Lopez exhibit? Did he talk to anybody about this in advance? Did he have any type of unusual actions, write anything down that was really of concern to people? If you can identify the threat, then law enforcement officials or other officials can intervene and try to mitigate the threat from that particular individual.
You know, it's interesting, too, to hear about that he self-reported a traumatic brain injury and he was in the process of being diagnosed with PTSD. Are you aware since 2009, is there a certain process of that, anybody on a post being looked after even more closely when they report something like that in light of what happened in 2009?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any specific actions that were put in place post-2009. I can tell you, though, that the awareness level after Fort Hood and after the Navy shooting and some other incidents, certainly people are more sensitive to it. But the awareness level and ensuring that authorities are paying attention to this, it's a large problem. There are hundreds of thousands of folks in the military who've come back from these war zones and are suffering. Certainly this is something I imagine that the military will be looking at much more closely.
Yeah, our hearts go out to all the families, that's for sure. Closely, did you see a big change yesterday in the way that they did respond as opposed to before 2009?
No, I don't think so. When you have an active shooter, you'll see tactical teams that'll come together. What's really important, the first step in some type of a response like this, is the security and safety of the individuals. So they'll spend many, many hours meticulously going through every single building, trying to clear and ensure that there's not another shooter there. In this particular case, the authorities said that there was one shooter, but early on in a shooting like this, an incident like this, there's kind of this fog of war, and witnesses are reporting different things, and they're not really clear whether there's one shooter or not. I think the authorities in this case did a tremendous job evacuating people out of the buildings, checking them all to ensure they were not a threat, and ensuring that everybody was safe.
Sean, thank you so much, Sean Henry, for your insight. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We have more.